Welcome back to Fantasy Bricks and welcome to my top 10 castle builds from the first 2021 LEGO Ideas review. This time a record-breaking 57 submissions reached the 10,000 supporters mark, and this meant that even more castle related builds had the chance of being made into sets. There are some incredible castles, Middle-earth inspired mocks and historical builds on the list, as I count all three under the umbrella of castle. I'm a huge Castle, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit fan, and I've built Helm's Deep, Mirkwood Forest, and I'm currently building Erebor, and I'll leave links to all of these in the description below. So, without further ado, let's get into the list. Coming in at number 10 is Hyrule Castle, created by Artem Byzayev. I'm sure this mock is instantly recognisable to anyone who's played The Legend of Zelda. For me though, I feel this kind of castle is a little basic, and I don't think LEGO would use that big base plate, as they seem to be moving away from big moulded parts and base plates. It has a cool selection of minifigures though, and I'm sure it would appeal to kids. Next on our list we have a map of Middle-earth, surprisingly also by the same builder. This well executed set would have been a must for Lord of the Rings fans. This submission feels mature and fitting for the adult target audience of the LEGO Ideas theme, and it would look epic on the wall. Maybe I'll make my own version of this on a bigger scale and do just that. Coming in at number 8 is the LEGO Viking Longship by Jonas Kram, and the only reason this wasn't higher on my list is due to its small size. I love this set, but I wish he'd really gone to town with it and made it a bit bigger. Despite its slick design, I don't think it even had a chance of being made into a set though, as it's been leaked that LEGO might be releasing a Viking ship in their creator line. This is one of the downsides of LEGO Ideas, as LEGO start working on sets years in advance, which means that some unfortunate submissions never even have a chance of being made into sets. I love how the sail folds down and the overall design is so satisfying, almost like a sleek car. Would anyone else just love a whole Viking theme again, with Vikings like this battling dragons and sea serpents? Because I would. Next we have the King's Castle by Brickhammer, and this is a really well designed set with a great use of the snot rockwork technique, and to anyone who doesn't know, snot stands for studs not on top. The reason this wasn't higher on my list is because, no offence to the builder, but for me it lacks some of the charm and character of the other castle submissions. And whilst I definitely wouldn't have complained if this had been made into a set, I don't feel it's as strong as some of the castles right at the end of my list. Coming in at number 6 is another Middle-earth mock called The Shire, The Hobbit Hole of Frodo and Bilbo Baggins by TB Brick Creator. I feel like a lot of the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings LEGO fans want UCS style versions of our favourite locations, and this is perhaps the most famous. I love the hallways in this build, which is something we didn't get in the official Bag End set in 2012. I also really like how you can take the roof off, and it really feels like they've captured Bilbo's house. The only minor complaint I have is the use of the light grey part in the doorway, but otherwise a really strong submission. Next on our list is the Ancient Greek Temple by HP Brickter. This set is truly beautiful and it would look amazing on display. I've been saying it for years that LEGO should actually do a historical theme, as imagine how epic it would be to get battle packs of Romans or Greeks and to get sets that look like this. Coming in at number 4 is the Medieval Marketplace by Dominic QN, and this is possibly the most detailed of all the builds. My favourite part is the really intricately designed clock tower. I love the attention to detail in the design, but also in the scenes depicted. I feel like I could stare at this build for hours and still not notice every detail. Next on my list is the Fantasy Castle by Lego Monkey. My favourite theme is actually Fantasy Era from 2008, which is a blend of traditional castle and fantasy stories like Lord of the Rings or Eragon. From the choice of minifigures, to its name, to its design, the submission feels like it's been directly inspired by Fantasy Era. Originally this set was lower on my list, but the more I looked at it, the more I fell in love with the intricate use of parts and the modular design. I'd really like to emulate this build on a bigger scale in one of my own mocks, as I just love the design. Coming in at second place is the Castle of Lord Athol and the Black Knights by Sleepless Night. It was hard to determine whether this or the last build deserved second place, but in the end I decided this was a more mature design. It would look more impressive on display, and I feel harks back to the early castle themes, which a lot of castle fans still love today. Speaking of the early castle themes, those white plumes on one of the minifigures were only available in one set in 1992 and are worth about £20 each. The whole figure is incredibly rare and sells for over £100, and unfortunately, even if this set had made it through, I don't think LEGO would have re-released those old rare plume parts. Also, may or may not have been won over by the Monty Python reference. It's only a model. Not really, but I did appreciate it. What really won me over and made me put this build so high on the list was the mind-blowing modular design. From the outside it looks like one solid build, but actually it splits off into loads of different sections. This modular style is something LEGO is finally beginning to incorporate in the Harry Potter Hogwarts sets, but not as well as in this example. Overall, a very close second. And finally, coming in at first place is the Castle of Brickwood Forest by Pollock, and this is a stunning build. From the Tudor style building to the well designed turrets to the clever use of hinges and Technic pins, this set steals the show. I'm also a massive sucker for trees, and I love how they've included the 2 trees so seamlessly. Whilst it lacks some of the intricate details and modular designs of some of the other builds, for me it feels the most like a complete set. The minifigures, the colour scheme and the building techniques mesh together perfectly to form what looks like a set you would see on the shelf. Despite how good these submissions are, and despite how obvious the demand for castle related sets is, none of these made the cut. Instead, the Jazz Quartet, which I have to admit is a very stylish set, and the Office set have been selected to be made into sets. Although the first isn't my thing, it is cool and feels different and relevant due to the increase in popularity of jazz in recent years. However, the choice to make the Office set feels a little bit obvious to me. It will definitely sell well, and you could argue that as 2 the Office submissions reached 10,000 supporters, it was an obvious choice. But then again, didn't 5 castles reach the 10,000 mark? I'm only joking. All sourness aside, LEGO have had an even harder choice than usual with so many submissions, and even though I don't feel it did the original design justice, it hasn't been long since we got the medieval blacksmith set. Now I'll get into some honourable mentions that aren't castle related but are also amazing submissions. First we have the Polar Express, which is a great looking set, and then we have Tutankhamun, which is an incredible design. There's also the Village Post Office, which sounds like the most boring submission on the list, but it's such a cute little set that I had to mention it. And finally, we can't forget the Nightmare Before Christmas Halloween Town. I've actually done LEGO shows with the designer Simon Scott, and I did a full video, which I'll link in the description, about his epic recreation of the best Halloween film of all time. Whilst this set didn't get through, he has a second project called Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark 40th anniversary, which is well on the way to 10,000 supporters, so if you'd like to make that happen, then make sure you go and vote for it. There were countless more great looking submissions that I haven't got around to mentioning that are more examples of the passion and ingenuity of the LEGO community. The LEGO Ideas platform births such creative designs and builds and is the greatest indicator of what the LEGO community wants. And whilst we didn't get a castle this time, for those that have watched for this long, I have a little treat for you. There was actually a third submission that requires further review. This submission is called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs by Han Was Yellow First, and I would say this beautiful little cottage will probably appeal to castle fans. As long as LEGO don't make it too simple like they did with the medieval blacksmith set, I would definitely pick this one up. It's a really cute design that I feel would appeal to a wide range of collectors. Currently the Ideas team need to tick off a few more boxes to move forward with it, probably to do with licensing from Disney, so we will find out whether or not it's made the cut when the next lot of Ideas sets are revealed in early 2022. This next batch of submissions features 7 castle related builds, including a UCS style Minas Tirith, which just thinking about makes me want to wet my knickers. So, there you have it, some clever designs, awesome ideas and new sets revealed. Thanks for watching. I'll leave links to my castle related build series and army videos in the description below. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.